Tonight I'm hunting my best stand that I have on my property. There's been a buck called the White 8 that's come by here on several occasions. And if he does it tonight, I'll zip him. Ton of deer in this part of the property, tons. I'll definitely get footage for you tonight. Stay tuned. Well, let's go ahead and do an overview of the piece of property that I am, or part of my property that I am hunting tonight. I'm hunting over a bean field, CRP corn combo that I had planted specifically for hunting. It's about 5 acres. Now behind me is a river, runs through my property. It's absolutely fantastic. I cannot get back busted, as they're not going to traipse through that. Now, this is a pinch point along a field between two cover points where does bed. The bucks have to walk in front of you. You see where I'm pointing right there? That's what we call that the hotel. Not necessarily the buck hotel, it's just a deer hotel. They love getting in there. The last 4 years has been money. I put this stand up August of 14, and I've shot a buck out of it every year. Now here is the first star of the night. Little yearling buck, 4-point. It's 5:45 p.m. I'm pretty excited at this point because deer are moving. And it was a warmer day. It was 53 degrees, I think, for a high, so that's a good sign. However, usually when you see these little dudes, the bigger dudes aren't around because they typically run these guys off. He's heading in that CRP corn combo to Doggin Does. I just know it. A lot of people will say, oh, they're chasing, and you know, turns out it's just a yearling buck chasing. I mean, you can get yearlings chasing in September. You know, it doesn't mean we're anywhere near the true rut or lockdown yet. I do have some old does on this property, and usually that first old doe will come into estrus before Halloween, and he sprung that doe out of there, and she's like, yeah, not so much. And I have green vegetation along the field. We did get our first frost October 19th. It was a hard frost. The trail camera said 25 degrees, and I think that it stayed below freezing for over 2 hours. So still have green, surprisingly. And you know, if you look at the maple trees, the leaves are still clinging on. It's just a good night to be in a stand, man. It's just nice. And you know, you can see she's about 20 yards away from me, and that 8-point had been coming out every night down from her about 20 yards. So nothing beats a living decoy. And here comes that yearling 4-point back. He's just dogging him around, and I don't mind because he's keeping the attention off of me, which just added to all the things you do for scent control and everything else. Here he comes, nose down. Working does, October 22nd. Just a little yearling buck. You can see those maple leaves are still clinging on. This time of year, we usually have them dropped. Our average frost date is October 10th, and like I say, it was October 19th this year. So, first sit in this stand. It's a little early for the sit. I usually don't sit this early in this stand, but seeing a shooter come through here, it changed the game for me. Now this is a different doe that moved in. There must be something juicy down there that they're not resisting. But here's a testament to my scent control. I know in my last video I did one too, but this doe in particular is 3 yards in front of me. And you'll notice here she looks right at me. She must see a blob in a tree. I got a good background. It's not like I'm getting skylighted or anything, but she looks at me, you know, she kind of bobs her head a little bit. It's a sight bust, but it's not really a bust because she doesn't smell me. You know, for all she knows, I could be a turkey in a tree. You know, she just has no clue. And this is a yearling doe, not a fawn, a true yearling doe. I think a lot of people get those confused. Oh, it's a yearling, and then you see it and it has spots. No, that's a fawn. The fawns are out of spots, but this is a 1.5-year-old doe. She's by herself, and what a buck magnet she'll be, you know, in a couple of weeks. But she's moving right in. Of course, I'm 20 feet in the air, but she's, you know, like I say, 2 to 3 yards in front of my stand. She's interested, but she's not concerned. And one thing about a deer, if you want to measure their nervousness, check and see if they're still eating. If they're eating, they're not nervous. She's just nibbling on those green goldenrod leaves. And boy, do they love goldenrod when it comes out of the ground at 2, 3, 4 inches. It's just nice and tender to them. They also love ragweed when it's you know, tender shoots. But she's right in front of me, and she's absolutely upwind, of course. I use Evercalm on the bottom of my boots walking in. I am scent free as far as a human can be. And she's not busting me, then, you know, in my mind, a buck's not. And there she goes on her way. Now here you see another group of does that have come out of the corn and working around. It's a good sight for somebody that's after a buck. And I'm not lacking for does. I'm not lacking for food. I'm not lacking for security. I have all the ducks in a row and all the elements you need to be successful. It's just at that point in time, you know, it becomes a little pinch of luck, a little sprinkle of luck on the cake of preparation. So, and of course, you see him working through the highly endangered goldenrod species of plant. Now, this is the hotel that I had been pointed to earlier, and you see that doe coming out of that trail, and I call that the Crooked Tree Trail. If you look off to her right, our left, there is a crooked tree there, and the last 4 bucks that I've shot in the last 4 years have come out of that trail. That trail is money. It's just critical that you don't burn this stand out. Now, I won't come back to this stand for probably a week or more. I don't know. It just depends on the wind and the movement that I'm seeing. But it's good seeing activity come out of there. And guess who shows up? A buck we call Righty. Now, if you watched any of my Wildlife Wednesday series, he was on at least 1 or 2 of them. He was that weird, funky half-rack that was growing in. He did not break off. He's not a true half-rack in the sense that his left side, I don't know if something happened to the pedicle, or he had a right or a left front injury, or a right rear injury as the nerves cross over, or whatever, but his left side, he grew out like, it almost looks like a hand. It just developed up into like 4 weird, funky points. But he's over there Doggin Does, working them. And he's a 2.5-year-old. Fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch. And here he comes. He's coming through the, again, highly endangered goldenrod. You know, you'll see yearlings and 2-year-olds at this point, Doggin Does, but it's rare to see a mature buck doing it on October 22nd. Just is. And here he comes. He sees those does that I pointed out that were 20 yards down from me, and oh, he's snapping a bean here and snapping a bean there. He remembers every once in a while that he's hungry, but he wants to dog does, come down and harass them. Certainly fun to watch. Makes a 2-3 hour sit go by like 15 minutes. It's a time of year I just love. He acts like he's sneaking over, and none of the does notice that he's coming over. I am surprised that 8 hasn't ran him out yet, but who knows, in time, we'll see. And he's coming back across in front of me. He's about 30 yards right there. Could have stopped and zipped him, if I was just a tag filler. But I got meat in the freezer. I'm looking for bone. Well, you can't eat the antlers, you want to bet? You can absolutely grind them down and eat them. Just like powder. All the calcium and minerals you'll ever need, probably for a lifetime. The old quotes and sayings that have no merit. Can't eat the antlers. That's an excuse for a guy that shoots a dink every year, first buck he sees. You wouldn't butcher a beef cow that was, young, unless you were butchering for veal. So why would you shoot a small deer? A big buck is going to have big antlers. They're going to have a bigger body, essentially ready for butcher, ready for slaughter. So it just, all those sayings that basically are excuses that guys and girls and everybody comes up with are just nonsense. Well, I hope you enjoyed my sit. I know I did. I'll catch you at the next video. Thanks for watching.